Hey everyone, it is Fatima here and this is a Birthing Goddess YouTube channel. So today we have Mel from Cocoon and Cradle. Welcome, Mel.
Thank you very much.
It's awesome that you can be here. I've got so many questions for you today. But first of all, can you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself? So who is in your family, where you live and what you do for work?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Melissa, as you know. So I have a lovely husband and two little ones. So I have a almost 4-year-old Harvey and an 18-month-old Harper, who keep me very busy and on my feet.
Yeah.
And we just live on the Gold Coast, so we're very lucky to live where we are. I think it's just an amazing place to live, beautiful weather and the rest of it. And yeah, I'm the founder of Cocoon and Cradle, so that's a breastfeeding, sleep and early parenting support service for mums. And I do support in-home on the Gold Coast and also virtually as well, so I support mums worldwide too.
Okay, wow, that's amazing. So anywhere around the world, if you need help with breastfeeding or sleep.
That's right. Yeah, I just supported a mum the other day who lives in Cambodia, so that was really cool. Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
So
She's an Australian mum who's living and working over there at the moment, so yeah, I got to help her just through a virtual support.
Wow, so cool. And so today we're going to talk all about sleep. Can I know what inspired you to become a sleep consultant?
Yeah, sure. So when I had Harvey, who's almost 4 now, I was just I think I was overconfident because I was already a paediatric nurse and a midwife, and I'd been doing that for 10 years now, so I thought I was pretty confident with babies and everything that came with it. And then had Harvey and my world kind of got tipped upside down with realising that it's so different having your own child compared to looking after other people's children. And yeah, especially the sleep stuff, there was just so much conflicting and confusing advice, and like I really struggled and thought that, doing all of these Google searches telling me that I had to put Harvey down, drowsy but awake, and that just wasn't working. He would just scream, and I just really struggled with sleep with him and thought that there must kind of be a better way. And yeah, since then I'm doing my second sleep credentialing at the moment, to be a holistic sleep coach and learn a lot more about it. And that's kind of the reason that I got into it, because I just love supporting mums in this way and doing more holistic and evidence-based support that, doesn't support cried out or anything like that. So yeah, that's how I kind of came into it.
Beautiful. Yeah. So interesting. And I'm interested to know, what is a good age to start a sleep routine?
Yeah. Well, really from birth. Yeah. You can do it as early as you like. So the earlier the better, really. And it's not a strict routine, it's just something that you can do at the same time, not the same time, it's like the same consistency every day. So you want to be doing like the same steps every day. That's kind of really nice for bub, but you can start as early as you like. So just doing something that works for you, because it's not something that's going to work for everybody, because every family is so different. So you may do like a bit of fun and silly time, and then you might wind down and have a bath, and then you might get changed into PJs and have a breastfeed or bottle feed, and then read a book and go to bed, or your routine might look different and you might feed to sleep or do whatever working for you. But just generally doing something in the same order every night is really handy and sets up a really good just sets up a good situation for babies in learning, I suppose, some good aspects of sleep.
Because then they know, okay, it's bath, and then I'm going to have a feed.
And they love routine and having things in the same order.
Absolutely.
So I'm definitely not about strict schedules or timing or anything, but just having that consistency and that predictability to their day.
Also, I wanted to ask, how is your sleep training method different from like other methods out there?
Yeah, sure.
Programs.
So I wouldn't call what I do sleep training. I suppose it's more like coaching, but there's so many different words for like the job.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I would say that it's different because it's more holistic and evidence-based. So I really focus on the whole picture. And when I say holistic, it's focusing on like the context, if it's developmentally appropriate, if there's any underlying medical issues that could be triggering problems with sleep, sleep biology, your exercise and diet, sleep hygiene, so like the environment and stuff like that as well. And then going over kind of safe sleep and then working out a plan with the family is what's going to work for that family. Because a lot of the time, if you Google it, there's just so much sleep advice out there and a lot of really generic plans. And the problem with the generic plans is that they don't work for every child because every child is so unique. So for example, you like we are so different. You might need 10 hours of sleep a night, and I may need 8 hours of sleep a night. And so all little ones are so different in the same way. Is that some little ones might have low sleep needs, some little ones might have high sleep needs, and they might have so many different things going on in their family as well. So just having that really individualized approach, and then as well bringing in my background. So because I'm a paediatric nurse and a midwife, and I've done further training to be an IBCLC as well, which is an international board certified lactation consultant, which I'll have my credentialing for in the next couple of weeks, which is really exciting. So bringing all of those aspects into the sleep as well, so having that really deep understanding. Whereas sleep, there's a lot of different sleep consultants out there, and I think it's just important to check the credentialing of anybody you're going with, because it's not a regulated service like it is, with nursing or midwifery or those kind of things. So you can say you're a sleep consultant without actually having any kind of sleep training or any course that you've done. So I think it's just, and there's also a lot of different sleep courses out there. So I think if you're looking for somebody, just looking for somebody who aligns with your own parenting values as well, because mine's very holistic and evidence-based, but also has a real attachment focus, and there's all about responsive feeding and parenting too. So just finding somebody who aligns with your values, I think, is really handy, and hopefully I kind of fill that space for a lot of families between somebody who doesn't want to cry it out, but they don't want to wait it out either, and they need help, and that's where I suppose I sit in that picture.
Awesome. And do you also look at different environments? So if someone wants to seek advice from you, for example, I live in a tiny home, do you kind of take that into consideration when you kind of tailor what you're giving to them?
Definitely. So it's really unique and personalised and one-on-one. So as you say, you live in a tiny home, somebody else might have a different situation, so it's all about what's going to work for that family, because there's no point coming up with a plan that's not going to work for them, because it's just not going to be helpful. So looking at all of those unique family situations and working out what is going to be beneficial for them.
Amazing. Awesome. This one is from a follower on Instagram. They're asking, when should a toddler begin to drop their nap?
Oh yeah. I was going to say, is your little toddler dropped his nap yet, or is he still?
No, I have to drive him around actually, because when I was pregnant he was starting to refuse his nap, and I just didn't know what to do. I live in a tiny home, so I was just getting a bit too big to be crawling to his room, and I was just like, right, let's just go in the car, it's just going to be easier. So now that's what we do. He goes maybe we go somewhere, and then coming back he will have a sleep, or maybe I have to drive somewhere. So that's our situation. But this one came from a follower, so can I know about that?
It's there's such a range, and I think it comes back to all the little ones just being so different. So I would say the average age is between 2.5 and 5 years that they drop the nap completely. But again, a lot of the time it's not something that you kind of just one day they decide not to have the nap and then they never have the nap again. It's something that will drop really gradually, and even now my almost 4-year-old will probably nap maybe 2 days a week, and the other time he'll just have quiet time in his room, for a bit of rest time during the middle of the day. But between 2.5 years and 5 years is kind of the age where they will drop that nap completely, but super gradually. So you might find that your little one has, they might drop just a couple of days a week of no nap, and the other days they'll nap, and then it will just slowly keep decreasing till eventually they won't nap anymore. And that's a really good time as well to introduce quiet time. So if they are dropping that nap, it's so important for their little bodies to still have that rest during the day. So that's when I would really suggest, if they are starting to refuse that nap, try to swap it out for quiet time instead. And that way they're still getting maybe you set aside an hour during the middle of the day where they can either sleep or they can have quiet time. And that's a really good time. That's really good. Not only for them but for you as well. I don't know about yourself, but I need that break in the middle of the day to kind of reset. So I feel like it works really well for the whole family.
For sure. Awesome. And then feeding to sleep, co-sleeping, there's so many things that people are doing. Some people are judging or not, but what is your thoughts on these methods.
Yeah, I'm definitely not judging.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
I fed to sleep both of my little ones, and I've just stopped feeding to sleep Harper now. That's kind of just worked out organically. But
cool.
there's definitely nothing wrong with like feeding to sleep or co-sleeping or any of that. And I think that's probably a way that I'm a bit different as well, because if you Google it, there's so many people that'll be like, no, you mustn't co-sleep, you mustn't feed to sleep, you mustn't do any of these things. But I suppose if you think about like the history of, you know, human evolution, like babies have been fed to sleep for thousands and thousands of years, and babies have slept in close proximity to their caregivers for thousands and thousands of years. So it's only really, if you go back, I find this really interesting, if you go back into the history of sleep culture, I think it was like the 1970s, there was a few like middle-aged white male paediatricians who came up with the idea of like cry it out, and that babies need to be left alone to work out how to go to sleep. And all of the research since then has disproved all of these theories, but that's when it kind of changed a lot for our society, and we were moved away towards, I suppose, what you feel you want to do instinctually to what somebody else is telling you that you should be doing. And that was when, I think that was during the Industrial Revolution, where there was lots of mums that had to go back to work, and you had a lot of wet nurses and caregivers that had to look after a lot of children at once, and so they were trying to put them into this strict routine to make it easier for them to look after them. So it was all about what was working for the caregiver, not what was best for the babies. So, but if you look through so many other cultures around the world and throughout our history, babies have been fed to sleep and slept in close proximity to their caregivers for just throughout history, which is really amazing. And interestingly, with feeding to sleep as well, your breast milk has special hormones in it that actually make babies sleepy. So there's definitely nothing wrong with your baby getting sleepy or going to sleep at the breast. But in saying that, sometimes it doesn't work for all families, or some families don't want to do that, and that is completely fine as well. But I would just say, if what you're doing is working well for you now, then it's working and there's no need to change it.
Awesome. Nice. And what are some common sleep problems you see with babies?
Oh, yeah.
There's common ones.
There's a lot, hey. I suppose it's got to do as well with what your perception of a problem is, because different cultures would perceive like different things differently. But yes, lots of catnapping in young ones, which is super developmentally normal. So a lot of mums get really stressed out that their baby's only having short naps. But I don't know if your two did that or not, like had short naps when they were under 6 months old. Did either of yours have little cat naps?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, she's still so young. But
she does.
So super normal when they're little, and does not normally until around 6 months of age, and naps kind of consolidate a bit more. So but more sleep issues, I suppose, like with having their day and nights confused. A lot of young babies can sometimes get switched up with their days and their nights, and do a lot of sleeping during the day and then partying all night. So there's kind of different things you can do to help with that. That's probably a big one. Lots of night waking, which sometimes you don't even need very big fixes. You just need little tweaks in your day to kind of reduce those night wakings if they get to a point where they're unsustainable for your family. Because there's no reason, like, you know, even if a baby is waking you up every hour all night long, that's not going to be really sustainable for you guys. So just trying to make night wakings in a space that's more manageable for you as a family. So there's lots of different things, but I'd probably say that those are some of the most common ones that come up.
Awesome. And then awake times. I want to know, should we follow the guidelines of like how old the baby is, or do we just kind of look for the cues and like follow our intuition?
So again, this is like there's so much information on this, and if you've ever Google searched awake times, like you just get thousands and thousands of results and different tables that come up telling you to do different things, and so confusing, especially for new mums that are already sleep deprived and trying to work out what's going on. But if you look at the evidence behind it, there's actually no evidence at all behind awake times. So there's nothing at all behind them, even though they're so popular and they come up on every single Google search. So I think they're really good to use. In saying there's no evidence behind them, there is average times that children of certain ages will normally stay awake for, but that's kind of an average. It's not, you'll have people that have lower sleep needs and higher sleep needs, and so they may be on either side of that. So I think it's good to use them as a guide to know, like, okay, well, the average baby of this age may stay awake for this amount of hours.
Yeah.
And if you use it as a guide, then I think you're more attuned to looking at your little one during that time when you think they may start to be getting ready for sleep. So using it as a guide and then watching your little one for their individual sleep cues.
Yeah.
And I normally say if you spend like a good few days just really observing your little one, you'll pick up on these little sleep cues that start to come through. And if you can get in when you catch their early cues and try to put them to sleep then, you'll have a lot more success than waiting till like you've missed them all and it's a really late cue and they're just screaming their house down.
And what are some of those cues when they're like tired?
So everybody's going to be a little bit different with their cues, but you may notice, like if you think about your little ones as well, they do certain things. Like a really common one is they'll start to get really like almost blank and staring off into space. So you might notice that they just become a bit more blank or a bit more disinterested in what they're doing. You might see that they're starting to get like a little bit more lethargic. You might see some little ones kind of start pulling their ears or rubbing their face a little bit. So those are all kind of early signs that they're probably ready for a sleep and you should start getting them ready for bed. But all little ones will do different things, and some little babies won't even show many tired cues. Like they might just jump from being like okay, and then suddenly they're really overtired. I think just working out what your little one is like, what their temperament is like, and then really tuning into them when you get to that time of day. And you can kind of, if you watch them for a couple of days, you'll start to pick up when these little early cues are coming through.
And also for those that have other kids like myself and like really busy lives, can we still implement a good routine with our baby, or do we have to kind of be stuck at home, and not go out?
I don't think anybody wants to be stuck at home all day when you've got 2 kids, 2 or more kids, do you? It's just a bit hectic. I know myself, like I'm so bad I can't stay at home all day every day. It's just not for me. I just go a bit stir crazy. So yes, you can definitely still get out of the house and still have good routine for Bub. A lot of families do like a short, long kind of nap, where they'll have a shorter nap in the morning, and that's the nap they'll go out with baby and their toddler or their older kids with, and then I try to have a longer nap for that lunch nap at home, which works quite well for a lot of families to get out in the morning when their toddler's already going a bit kind of needs to burn some energy, which I do, definitely my one does. He needs to burn some energy first thing. So yes, if you want to head out, I would suggest going out when your baby's like during their wind down periods. If you've got 10 minutes before they go to sleep, that's like nice and relaxing, and you're winding them down and doing a bit of a bedtime routine to put them to sleep. If you try to make sure like that you're in the car for then, or in the pram for then, or in the carrier, however you're going to put them down for their sleep, and then they've got that wind down period already in the car or the pram or the carrier, and then they'll have their sleep out with you wherever you guys are out and about doing your activity or whatever you wanted to do. And then a lot of families then like to have the next sleep at home because their toddler normally has a lunch rest anyway, and so that kind of works out well, that they'll have a sleep and both the kids go down together at the same time, which as well gives you a bit of a break as well, being mum.
For sure.
So you can definitely have a routine that still supports Bub, but is still really flexible and meets your lifestyle.
Cool. And then last of all, what advice and tips do you have for parents on how to establish like a really good sleep routine? Or habits? So much you can do. Hey, and none of it is like sleep training or anything. There's so many things that are just so easy to do. So especially with little ones, like even her age, having some nice daylight during the day, so between like 7 to 7 or whatever your daylight hours are, having this lovely like sun come through, having normal kind of activity levels, and then at night time trying to keep it nice and dark and quiet. So if you're getting up to Bub at night, not making a huge amount of noise and having a big party and turning all the lights on, just keeping it really calm. That's really a good way to kind of establish their body clock. And then having some nice predictability to the day. So with your winding down for bed and your bedtime routine, doing it in the same order for your naps as well for your bedtime at night time as well can be really handy. And with your routine as well, making sure that it's full of like calm and connection, because especially at night overnight, and I know with like you've got a toddler too, like being away from you overnight is a massive period of separation and being alone if they're not sleeping right with you. And so having that time at the end of the day to really fill up their love cup and do lots of nice, whatever you and your little one likes, whether you like to sing or read books or
you know, anything really that's going to fill their love bucket up and, you know, just have lots of nice bit of connection, because I find that if you rush through the bedtime routine, they can definitely notice it, because our little ones are little emotional sponges, and so if you're feeling stressed or you're feeling rushed, they will feel that too and won't want to go to sleep. So just having a really nice calming bedtime routine helps. And then lots of unrestricted exercise during the day. So like for your toddler, he might be out, like I know you said he likes to kick around the football and or the soccer ball and do things like that. So lots of opportunities for exercise. And then for your baby, she might just like being, you know, on her back on a mat, you know, just having a little kick around and play around with different things. So just lots of time for them to move their body, because if they don't get that time during the day, and you'll find this as well when she gets older and she starts to want to roll and do different things, they should be practicing it at night time. So yeah, lots of opportunity for exercise during the day is really handy. And then maximising feeds as well, so they get to kind of 4 months and get a bit FOMO and have a bit of just, they don't want to miss out on anything and get really distractible. So just maximising feeds during the day, whether you need that to do that in a quieter or a darker room when they hit that 4 month mark. I know that a lot of babies do get a bit distractible at that age. So yeah, there's lots of things that you can kind of implement just to kind of tweak your environment and have an optimal environment for sleep. Thank you.
And where can we find you, Mel?
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook, which is at Cocoon and Cradle, and then I've got a website as well, which is www.cocoonandcradle.com. So feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
That's okay, my pleasure.
Cool.